This is the third video of this section, creating custom modules. In the previous video, we learned how to enhance SELinux policies. In this video, we'll start by building SELinux native modules and reference policy modules. Then we'll learn to build CIL policy modules and add file context definitions. We can always maintain our own SELinux policy modules as well. To accomplish this, we need to either have at least a file with a .te suffix, which stands for type enforcement, and optionally a file called context file, or .fc, and interface file, that is .if, or, when using the new policy format, a .cil file. All these files need to have the same base name, which will be used as a module name later. There are several formats in which SELinux policy modules can be written, which are listed here. The first format we call SELinux native. It doesn't understand reference policy macros, but is the base policy development approach that's still in use. The reference project even relies on this format to build its own set of rules. The second format we call reference policy style. Here, macros are provided that facilitate SELinux policy development, while still supporting most of the syntax that SELinux native uses. Transitioning from SELinux native to reference policy style is therefore quite simple. The third format is CIL. This is a completely new language for SELinux policy development, but of course still maps to the well-known SELinux language constructs. The recent SELinux user space will translate the first two formats into CIL format under the hood. The use of custom modules is preferred, as it provides the administrator more control over the added policy rules. It also allows administrators to keep track of policy updates, including comments inside the policy rules explaining why the rules were added. We'll briefly look at the three approaches in this video. So, let's start with building SELinux native modules. A native SELinux policy language module starts with a line defining the name of the module, followed by a set of requirements, like types or attributes, classes and permissions, and then the rules themselves. Let's take an example of this through the policy file. First, let's change the directory. Now, use the touch command, which is used to create a new or empty file. We name the file localpolicy.te. In the next line, type vi localpolicy.te. Press I to insert. Here's the code which we need to run next. Press escape and give a colon and write x exclamation. Finally, write the command cat localpolicy.te. And here it returns the contents of the file. The localpolicy.te file can then be transformed into an intermediate module file, which will be called localpolicy.mod. This is accomplished using the check module command. Let's press enter. As you run this command, it loads policy configuration and writes binary representation. Finally, the SELinux policy module is built, generating a loadable localpolicy.pp module. For this, we use the semodule_package command. The resulting localpolicy.pp file can now be loaded in memory using the semodule application. Let's move on to build reference policy modules. In the case of a reference policy module, a similar structure as with the native format is used, but now leveraging functions provided by the various SELinux policy module definitions. Again, it starts with a module declaration, followed by a declaration of required types or other SELinux objects, and finally the set of policy rules that the module holds. What's important is that the first line calls a macro, namely the policy module method. So as we did previously, we need to use the touch command. vi localpolicy.te. Press I to insert. Add these lines at the terminal. Save and exit. And now write the command cat localpolicy.te. And here's what it returns as output. The localpolicy.te file can then be built using a reference policy object provided makefile, which transforms the functions to the raw SELinux policy rules and builds the policy packages afterwards. Now let's look into building CIL policy modules. The CIL format uses a different policy development style, which might make it easier for software to pass, but sometimes more challenging for users to develop. Still, there are a number of advantages to CIL files that will make it a popular approach. Note, however, that CIL support is only available in the recent SELinux user space. RHEL 7.2 does not support CIL yet. The local policy.cil file, which we're going to see now, has similar content as the SELinux native example given earlier on. Let's use the touch command to create the file. vi space localpolicy.cil, enter. Now we need to insert this line and click enter. Save and exit. Now type the command cat localpolicy.cil and press enter. So it displays the contents of the file. One of the advantages of using CIL is that it does not require packaging commands. In this video, we've learned to build and create custom modules. In the next video, we'll be creating roles and user domains.